Welcome to this edition of Supervisors Report with David Haubert, the Vice President of the Board of Supervisors. I'm your host, Dr. Marshall Kamena. Joining me now is Supervisor Vice President Haubert, and welcome.
Marshall, thanks for having me. Always great to be here.
It's really our pleasure, and I love looking forward to the topics that are of some interest to you. And what would you like to explain that's hot on your mind?
I'll tell you, Marshall, I'm really excited for the whole Tri-Valley, but especially for the city of Livermore in their opening of what we call Vineyard 2.0. Vineyard was a shelter, a homeless shelter where people could come, and it was ran its course. It was torn down and rebuilt, and now Vineyard 2.0, the second version, includes 24 units that people that are formerly homeless and some families that are just otherwise would be out on the street can live. It also includes an overnight shelter where people can come in out of the rain and the cold and spend the night on a cot and get a hot breakfast the next day. But during the day, all day, they have services there. County folks are coming in, city folks are coming in, Veterans Affairs folks are coming in and finding out what each person's individual problem is, what their story is, and how can we help them get back on their feet.
And so you know a fellow who's involved in that very well, don't you?
That's right. I know them all, and it's great because it's finally open, and it took a long time to plan, it took a long time to build, and now it's finally open. So I'm really glad. I was really pleased that I and my office gave welcome mats to all the new residents as they came into their new home. It was right? A welcome mat, yeah. So welcome to the new home. They're all doing great, by the way, but the need is still there. We had a lot of rain, as you know, and it was cold the last couple of weeks. Having them homeless that are not in an apartment come in out of the cold and then seek help was a really good thing. So I'm really proud of the folks at HCB, and that's Darren Lowndes. I'm really proud of the group Open Heart Kitchen and CityServe, who are working on a daily basis inside Vineyard 2.0. I'm really proud of my staff, who was able to help place people that they've been working with in Vineyard 2.0. We've literally saved lives.
Well, you've been known for planning things like that, but your execution has been fabulous. Thank you so much for doing that.
Yep. One other thing I'd like to share, Marshall, I went to the National Association of Counties annual legislative conference. We got blessed to hear a speech from our president. Joe Biden came and introduced himself and spoke to our group. And you know, he started out as a county, what they call a county supervisor, a commissioner in Delaware, and he got to say hi to his old team 35 years ago or whenever it was. But anyway, he did a great job sharing his vision for his future. And that was always exciting. But in addition to that, Marshall, we got to meet with people from the Housing and Urban Development, from the Veterans Affairs people. We got to hear about Select USA, an economic development initiative by the White House. We got to hear from people in the transportation space and different programs that they have for grants, for helping with technical advice. And so I'm bringing that back home, as we do every year, but this year was even better. I got to learn more about what the federal government has, and to bring that home and make it happen here in Alameda County. So I'm pleased to report that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I had about 5 extra hours this week, and so I read a report on your first 100 days of service, back when you just became a Board of Supervisors member. Yeah. And there's some exciting things there. Can you bring some of those to life for us?
Yeah, Marshall, this will be released soon. It is leading our district, and it's about a 15-page report on the things that we have been able to do. And if I just kind of scroll through a few of these, Marshall, I'll tell you that I'm excited for the fact that we have been able to support. And if you go back to when I started, COVID was upon us, and we had people that were not able to make a living. So we helped provide additional funding to small businesses so they could keep their employees employed and that they wouldn't go out of business. And so that's a good thing. We were able to do that, and we gave, I mean, look at all the people we were able to support. Pages.
Look at that list.
A long list of things that we were able to, not a lot of money to each one, but enough to keep them going. And that was important. One of the ones that I'm really proud of is the Rotary Club. service above self is the Rotary Club's mantra, and I was able to give all the Rotary Clubs a grant so that they can give out to people in need. I felt like I can do this, or I can empower the Rotary Club to do it, and they did. They're doing a great job with it, Marshall, with all that they've been able to do. I'm really proud that I took about 50 kids who have never seen the ocean to the tide pools in Half Moon Bay. Wasn't that an exciting day? Their eyes lit up when they saw the ocean. We got to walk out and see the sea urchins for the first time, and that was really special. Things like that.
Did you see the sun come up or go down while you were there?
We were there at lunchtime, and we had lunch too. But I've supported our local police department and our CHP officers with funds that help when they have a fallen officer. And I'm proud of doing that. We also had a little fun along the way, Marshall. The St. Patrick's Day Parade, the 4th of July parades that we participate in, the rodeo parade here in Livermore, absolutely amazing. We cleaned up the creek. We took a whole day of service and cleaned up the Arroyo Creek and had about 50 volunteers come and help us, Marshall. It was
people
a
you don't have to recruit, they just come,
day.
huh?
Yeah, we have them sign up in advance so we know how to plan for how many bagels and coffees we need in the morning, right? And how much lunch we need. And about 50 people signed up in advance.
So it sounds like there's a lot of interest.
A lot of interest, yeah. This is another one I'm very proud of, Marshall. Look at all the people here. National Day of Prayer, praying for our country to make good decisions, and to the leaders to make good decisions. And we had just about every faith coming together on the same stage. Muslims and Jews on the same stage. Sikhs, Hindus, Catholics, Coptics,
yes.
LDS,
yes.
Buddhists. We had everybody coming to pray.
Is it May sometime?
It's always the first Thursday in May.
Because Ronald Reagan started it.
He commissioned it to be the first Thursday in May. That's a good point. It had always existed, but it wasn't always on a set day. It existed since the 40s or 50s. But he made it the first Thursday in May. That's what Ronald Reagan did. So we will celebrate again our 4th annual this coming May. We're going to have the same thing I've actually turned it over to the local pastors community. The clergy will actually run it, and they'll be inviting me in to be at that event, Marshall.
Good choice, huh?
Yeah, it's a great choice, and I'm really happy that they are willing to take it on. Supported the Chambers of Commerce with grants so that they can keep their doors open. We can't let the Chambers of Commerce go under, right? So we did a lot of work, Marshall. But what I'm most proud of is my staff, and I mentioned it earlier with the one gentleman we placed in Vineyard 2.0. But there's about, I would say, between 5 and 10 people who I believe would otherwise have perished had it not been for my staff working with them, connecting them to the resources that the county has, and saving their lives, quite literally. Proud of that.
You've got to feel good about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're a man of a lot of talents. Transportation.
Yeah.
You're almost Mr. Transportation, you know. You've been very involved in it. Could you summarize some of the Tri-Valley projects in Dublin, and Livermore, Pleasanton, and some of the involvement of that wonderful lady on your staff, Dublin Mayor?
Yes,
Melissa Hernandez.
they are making progress, and I would say that the big things that we have, the 4 big things that I would talk about is 1, expanding Dublin Boulevard and extending it to the city of Livermore. They're working really hard on planning this and designing it, and they'll eventually make an application to LAFCO, which will decide on the sphere of influence of the unincorporated Alameda County site. And I'm really excited that project, we've been talking about it for about 10 years, is closer, or more, right, probably a lot more. And it finally is just continuing to make progress. So that's a big one. The other thing, Marshall, is you probably have seen there's a little bit of traffic on the 680 freeway. It's what I call no pain, no gain. But we're going to be adding a lane, and we're going to be resurfacing the freeway. It needs it. Trucks and large vehicles have make potholes on the freeway, which are not good for automobiles. They're going to completely resurface and add a toll lane, add an extra lane. It'll be a toll lane so that people can hop in and get down the freeway even faster. That's a multi-billion-dollar project that is work in progress, but it's making good progress. The other one, Marshall, is Valley Link. I was just in another Valley Link meeting yesterday, an update. They are continuing to make progress on bringing more money in to make that project happen. But their design elements are done. The dual-purpose hydrogen and electric vehicle is made in Germany. It comes from Germany. It's a group called Stadler, but they make it in the U.S. So they built a new facility in Salt Lake City. Marshall, Salt Lake City, people from America, built in America, made in America. The company's from Germany, but they're making it in America. High-paid jobs that we can have here in America, and we're buying we're going to be buying our Valley Link trains from them. So it's good that we can buy American, buy local. And then the fourth one, Marshall, you know, continuing to work with our Livermore-Amador Valley Transportation Authority, the bus system, and rerouting, making improvements always to our routes where we can find the most people that need a service. And you know what, Marshall? Even if we can't serve them, we have a program where they can call Uber, and we'll subsidize the ride for them.
No kidding.
Now, all of a sudden, we can serve so many more people with an Uber ride and a subsidized Uber ride. That's so technology working for the people.
I was on that first board when it used to be wheels and it changed into, oh no, it used to be radio.
Yeah.
And people have accomplished so much. And Dublin has been the logical center of the universe for transportation.
Yeah, I think so.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Marshall. Appreciate that.
On that thought, let's take a short break. We'll be right back on this edition of Supervisors Report with Vice President David Haubert. Welcome back to this edition of Supervisor Report with the Vice President of the Board, still, David Haubert. Oh, gosh, I think you have a lot to be thankful for with regard to your staff. I think they have a lot to be thankful for in cooperating with the objectives you have in mind. But I wonder if you could mention how your staff has these different job descriptions and what it is they do.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I want to just say, Marshall, that everything that gets done really, really well on my team, it gets done because my staff is doing a good job. And maybe I have a good idea and maybe I help out with a little bit of direction, but they're the ones that actually do the heavy lifting and get things done. And so kudos to my staff. Now, there's several members, two members I want to highlight that I inherited from my predecessor, Scott Haggerty. And that's the Chief of Staff, Sean Wilson, and our Director of Health and Human Services, Mayor Melissa Hernandez, the Mayor of Dublin. They both were hired by Scott, Sean, a longtime Chief of Staff to Supervisor Haggerty, and Melissa Hernandez coming on in March of 2020. They both did a great job for Scott. They both continue to do a great job for me as County Supervisor. And so Sean helps me connect to, he just has such a wealth of experience throughout his tenure with the county. He knows how to get things done. Melissa has gained a great, deep level of relationship. She's really good at building relationships with our county staff. She has a good relationship with all of our department heads and with the people that are providing health and human service needs to our residents. And I think I have her faced up against what I call our corporate team. That's the Oakland people. And then on the ground, I have people like Kathy Kimberlin and Gloria Gregory, who are on the ground working with the nonprofit organizations that the county contracts with to get work done. They're the ones that are really rolling up their sleeves and helping people that really need help. I'll highlight in a little bit a gentleman that Gloria Gregory helped find. He had 2 detached retinas and was homeless. Now he lives in the Vineyard 2.0 project. It's because she took the time to meet him at the warming center that we opened up and find out more about him and help his needs. So that's on the ground is Gloria Gregory, the founder of CityServe. She's no longer with CityServe. She's on my staff now. She works closely with the CityServe team, and she saves lives. Kathy Kimberlin does the same thing down in Fremont and has been a resident of Fremont for over 30 years. She knows everybody on the ground. And then I have 3 new hires. One is Heather Cartwright, and she comes over from Wilma Chan's office.
Yes.
And she is my She knows everything about the Oakland fifth floor, what I call the fifth floor, and she knows all the people in Oakland, how to get things done administratively. So she's my office manager in Oakland, and I sort of stole her from Wilma Chan's team. And yeah, it's really great. I call her my secret weapon in Oakland because she knows how to get things done in Oakland, and that's something that I spend more time in my district. She helps me out in Oakland. Then there's two more new people. Sarbjot Mali and Lindsay Knight. I stole Lindsay Knight away from the Fremont Chamber of Commerce, and so she's really good at building relationships with the business community, helping me with all the chambers of commerce, not just Fremont. She helps me with the Livermore Chamber and the Dublin Chamber. She's going to help with my sister wine region network that we're going to build out, Marshall. Sisters of wine regions around the world that are going to come together and help make Livermore, put Livermore on the world map. You know, I'm kind of the mayor of Livermore wine region, right? It's unincorporated Alameda County.
There you go.
And so I love doing that. And Sarbjot is a recent grad. We met him a couple of, on the last meeting, a recent graduate of Cal Berkeley. And he's great on policy and social media. So they're the new members of the team already making a difference. But that's the whole team there, from Sean and Melissa and Gloria and Kathy, Heather, Lindsay, and Sarbjot. They're a wonderful team, Marshall, and that's how we get things done.
Well, what I hear you saying is you were very careful in hiring people, and they have wonderful objectives. What I hear from them is you have empowered them to do that, and without that part, it wouldn't get done.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, I'll tell you, Marshall, one thing I told them all, and I said, I want you to feel like you have the power to do what you think is right to, but I want it to come obviously from my lens. So I want you to ask yourself, if you have a question, what would Dave do? And if you think you know the answer to that, do it. If you mess up, it's okay. You at least tried, but what would Dave do? You don't have to ask me, go do it. And then I say, well, what should Dave do? Because maybe I might have it wrong, and they might think to themselves, Dave would do it this way, but we might want to do it a different way. They'll come ask me then, right?
But they feel free to do so.
They feel free to do it. And I tell them all, I'm going to evaluate you based on the accomplishments that you create. So every few months, we're talking about what accomplishments did you do? And each one will report out, and they almost want to brag to each other about all the great things that they've been able to do at the end of the period. So I empower them, and then I celebrate them by letting them brag to all of us over lunch what they did.
That's great.
Yeah. They're really great lunches.
You know, Governor Newsom has taken an active interest in Alameda County, as well he should.
Yes.
He's supplied an increased number of California Highway Patrol officers and state attorney generals to help with serious crimes. How's that going?
Yeah, I think we're on the beginning stages, Marshall, of seeing an influx in, I think it's 150 CHP officers that will be providing a surge of law enforcement expertise into the city of Oakland. It's been reported that one certain square mile in the city of Oakland is considered the most dangerous square mile in the country. I don't think that's exactly true, but that's been reported. And what we do know is crime is up. And we do know that In-N-Out Burger closed a facility that was making money. It was profitable, and they still closed it because they didn't feel safe there. And so definitely things need to change. Kudos to the governor for recognizing that. Kudos to him for taking action, which I don't think has happened. It's very, I think it's unprecedented. But what I hear is that patrol is up, arrests have happened, and people are being held accountable for the crimes that they commit. And you know, nobody likes to see somebody go to jail, but if you commit a crime and you especially are hurting somebody or stealing from them, there's consequences, and we're going to make sure, at least the governor is going to help make sure that that happens. So I'm glad that he did it. We're on the beginning stages of it. Things seem to be working well with it, but I think in the next 3 to 4 to 6 months we'll know a lot more.
Does that sort of fit in okay with the Oakland Police Department? I realize that there's some controversy there.
Yeah. I haven't talked to them. I don't know how they feel about it, Marshall. I do have an upcoming meeting with Oakland Police Department Union president, I'll ask him. Yeah.
There you go. Without a re-election campaign on your plate,
Yeah.
what priorities do you have until November?
Thanks for mentioning that, Marshall. I am proud that my first 3 years of office have allowed me to build a reputation that nobody wants to run against. So I'll be on the ballot on March 5th, and I'll be the only one on the ballot on March 5th. So I'm here to announce that I'm going to have another 4 years, Marshall, and I'm going to continue to do the things that I have already done, and that's feed the hungry and the starving and those that have what we call food insecurities, Marshall. And if we give a family food and they can save money to put on their rent or their electric bill, then that's a good thing. Some families have to choose between food and the electric bill, Marshall, and that's sad. Continue to provide housing for the homeless. We're going to look at expanding Goodness Village, look at doing that this year. It's really important, Marshall, that we get a substance use disorder facility here in the Tri-Valley. That is, when somebody is struggling with addiction, alcoholism or drug addiction of some kind, they're not going to help themselves without the medical attention that they need to get their bodies clean, their minds straight. And right now, we don't have any facility like that in the Tri-Valley. We're going to be opening one in partnership with La Familia and the state of California and Alameda County. I'm also going to be seeking funds to fix our rural roads. And Marshall, you may have seen the storms of the last couple of weeks. One part of mile marker 9.5 on Tesla Road, the whole road collapsed. That means people can't go across it. Thousands of people go on that road every day coming in from San Joaquin into Alameda County. They're now back on the freeways. They can't take that side road, but people live up that side road, and so some people's homes are actually affected. We have to fix our rural roads, and we have to make progress on extending the sewer and line from the city of Livermore's boundary all the way up Tesla into the wine region so that we can create more bed and breakfast, more restaurants, more efficient processing of our wine grapes so that we can bring more economic vitality to what I think is the best wine region in the country, Marshall, and that's Livermore wine region.
Amen.
So those are my priorities for this year.
Well, isn't it nice not having any opposition so you can stick to those priorities?
That's it, yeah. Right.
There are some of us who would say that a good measure of your success is anybody going to oppose you? And the answer is, no, they aren't.
That's right. That's right.
Are there any upcoming events in March or April that you'd like to
I want to
share?
announce and remind everybody, Marshall, that on St. Patrick's Day, everyone's Irish in Dublin. So come on out. It's going to be a great time where we have green and white gala on Friday night.
Yes.
Saturday, the parade. A pancake breakfast before that with the firefighters, a parade.
Oh, they're really looking forward to that.
Yeah, and the festivities at the main stage, bands, some Irish dancing. You can buy some Irish beer, I understand, and then Saturday night is corned beef and cabbage at St. Raymond's. We do it all again the next day, Marshall, Sunday, with a 5K run. Again, a trip to the main stage and the festivities. And we'll fit in a trip to an Irish pub called Gallagher's in there somewhere, Marshall. I want to give Gallagher's a big plug. We'll be there at some point to celebrate Ireland with Sunshine, the owner, who comes from Ireland. Her father does anyway, and did. And Sunshine and Gallagher's will be hosting a lot of Irish people on that weekend.
This hosts a lot of people from a lot of different areas around here. It's very, very popular, and boy, Dublin has really made that work.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here today. Thank you for being here today and updating us on all these things going on. I'm Dr. Marshall Kamena. Join us for the next episode of Supervisors Report with the Vice President of the Board, David Haubert, right here on Tri-Valley TV. Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me, Marshall, always.